As at the council, here's the things that they did. I'm looking at their website right now on our website. I have a copy of it.
Yeah, where can someone find this?
You can go to our main website for this is 911 Bible.
911 Bible.
Yeah, you can find a lot of information over there. Another one we have is called the Islam Code, ISLAMCODE.com, and we talk about the Trinity there as well. But in any case, even on their own website, they explain that what happened when the Council of Nicaea took place, the Roman government itself is now accepting Christianity as the official religion, that particular sect. So this is good news for the Christians in a way, but now there was compromises. One of the compromises was they had to change the date of the birthday of Jesus to become the 25th of December, which coincided with the birth of a god called Mithras.
Interesting.
Another thing they had to do is to implement another feast or festival called the Feast of Ishtar. And this is the goddess of fertility. This is why they have the reference here now to the eggs, and to the rabbits, because they multiply quickly. So it was a fertility festival from the goddess Ishtar, which we today call Easter. There's where your Easter eggs, your bunnies, and all the rest of it come from. This has nothing to do whatsoever with Christianity. Now, most of the Christians know this. Most of the knowledgeable Christians, they know this, and certainly the scholars in Christianity will acknowledge that immediately. This is something that is no part of Christianity. Now, another thing that took place was to decide which books of the Bible would be now canonized. And that's where this expression comes from at that time. That's when the Catholic Church said, this is what the Bible will be. And that's it, finish. Don't argue about it anymore. Because they used to argue about which books, put some in, take some out. But even the Catholic Church, over a period of time, took out the book of Revelations and then put it back in. And then took it out and put it back in. This is not our subject today, but I'm just letting you know that many things took place at that council.
Yes.
It wasn't just that they said this reference to the Trinity. Because when they accepted it, of course it's going to make a problem, because how will you resolve this when it's clear through the Bible that God is one? How you resolve it? Well, the influence here is coming from the government, not from the scholars so much, but the ones who were in the leadership position of the church wanted to do their best to twist things, bend things, compromise, so they could get this position. Let's don't go back to being thrown out into the lions, guys. Let's work with these people, and we become number one. Either you're number one in the best condition as a church, and can spread our thing through the world, but we're going to compromise. Otherwise, we're back out here being eaten by lions, and what's the benefit of that? So I think that was the mindset. I'm trying to give you an idea based on what information we have available today, but I think that seems logical. Another point is that the word Catholic means universal. It was always the Universal Church of Rome. It never was a Christian church. And it was in business long, long, long before they were affiliated with Christians. Because Rome had a church. And when citizens wanted to join, or if they took over a country and you would like to be a full citizen, you had to join this church. Now you can keep your old gods, no problem, but you definitely needed to be a part of this. So that is still the name of it today. Roman Catholic Church, Universal Church of Rome.
Now if I'm reading what was available to me at that time, and I'm finding I'm sincere and I want to pray to God alone, how did I fit in this equation when everybody's trying to support this other belief, this other theology?
Eddie, you can't say it that way because people didn't have Bibles. It wasn't until the time of Gutenberg, when he produced that press and started running Bibles off, that a common person could even have access. And also it was illegal, even up until 1511, it was forbidden for anyone to translate the Bible to the English language, even up to the time of 1511, when William Tyndale produced his whole entire Bible in English. And what they did, they executed him. They burned him. The church burned him at the stake with his Bible tied to his chest.
Why?
Because it's illegal. It's blasphemy to translate the Bible. Nobody was to have it. The priest only, and in the Latin language. That's how the law was. And it was 100 years after that, even after William Coverdale, a student of Tyndale's, came with another one. In 1611, there was a group who actually translated the Bible to English again. That's what we call King James Version. But in fact, King James didn't even know they did it till after the fact. They wrote a soliloquy in the beginning of it, praising Him, worshiping Him, calling Him Lord, even, hoping that He would accept and not kill them. He never authorized it, although He never killed them either. But He never officially authorized it. So they nicknamed it the Authorized Version. When it came to our country, it was called the King James Version. Get it? That's how that works. So to come back to the Trinity, though, nobody at the time of the Catholic Church taking over at 325, nobody could have sat around and read the Bible anyway. How are you going to read something that doesn't exist? What they had was some priests who had some manuscripts, or pieces of manuscripts, copies of things that were even in the Koine Greek and so on, but they did not have any full, complete Bible. That did not exist at that time.
So tell us, how, at the end, did this word come about?
Well, you know, when I say, by the way, that they didn't have a Bible, what I'm talking about is that the average person didn't. Because they did have the Roman Vulgate that was done by Jerome. And it has a tremendous amount of mistakes in it and so on, but that's beside the point. This word Trinity comes about as a result of the influence of the Roman government itself. The Roman government was considered a triune government because it had three bodies, just like the United States has three bodies. You have your president, you have the Senate, you have the Congress there, you know, and this altogether is equaling three. Well, this is taken right from the Roman government. The Roman government also had three, and there were three to make up their one body. And they were all in unison on their decisions. You follow? So when the Roman government takes over, they want to have this to remain in the church, which they had before. So this was why there was an emphasis and a real push to make sure it stayed. But the real problem in the early days wasn't over so much as whether God was one, two, or three. The real problem was over the issue of what was the nature of Jesus. Was He God? Was He man? Was He man God or God man? Was He born? Was He created? Was He always? And they would get into that because if you didn't say He was always, you were a blasphemer. According to some, of course. And then another thing comes up, a passage in the Bible talking about the Spirit. That the blasphemy is that you say anything against the Spirit. The Spirit is essentially a part of the deity or something at that stage. So this becomes an issue that gets so big and so distorted, and over the years, people just say, look, just believe it, just have faith, let it go. God is one, but you know, He has these three parts, or He's like three things at one time. And, you know, like for instance, I can be a father, and I can be a brother, I can be a son, all at the same time. True? Of course, I could be father, brother, son, grandfather, uncle, cousin, so it wouldn't be limited. And I really think that when people start using these kinds of examples, and especially trying to compare God to a human or anything else that He created, I think they're way off track. The best thing is to consider what Allah told us in the Quran. Allah told us, and He told us about Trinity in the Quran. That's why I said, it's not in the Bible, but it's in the Quran. Tell the Christians not to say three. It was clearly what Allah says to us. Because God is one. There's only one God.